Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Night Live with me, Jonny Lipsham, at jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk here in Gobridge in Scotland, the capital of the world. I hope everybody has had a good week and is doing well. It's been a great week, been a busy one for me, but it's been a good week nonetheless. And I'm, as ever, happy to be here on tonight's show. So, hopefully you folks have all seen my overview of Studio One 5.5 that I put out on the day of launch. And hopefully that should give you kind of a good preview of what the new features are. I didn't go into everything. I really basically went over the what I would call the highlights, the major features that everybody's been asking for years, basically, and some of those that are in version 5.5 are my own personal requests, which have finally been added, which is great. I love it when that happens. So that's kind of what that video was all about. So hopefully you guys have been able to check it out, and hopefully you've also been able to check out the update yourselves by downloading it from your accounts. If you are a Studio One 5 user, if you are, or you are a member of Personosphere, it should just be there in your account and you can go download it if you have not done so already. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a pretty great update, and there's lots of great stuff in there that a lot of people have been asking for quite a long time. Like, some of those go back to version 3's backlog, but here they are, and it's great, and I'm very, very glad that we have them. Particularly things like the automation for the project page and clip gain editing, and those, I've been wanting those for a long time. I'm not a mastering engineer, but I have a lot of friends that are mastering engineers, including Ian Shepherd, who some of you may know from productionadvice.co.uk. And so I've kind of been preaching the case for automation and things like that, and clip gain and the listen bus and things like that have been brought over from the song page into the project page. I've been an advocate for those for quite a while. I'm very, very pleased for all of my friends who are mastering engineers, some of whom I should say, not which, because they're people and not things, some of whom have been, they've been stuck around on Studio One version 4, and just, they've been using the song page in Studio One 4 for doing their client mastering work, and a good number of those folks are now upgraded to Studio One 5, and they're using the new stuff in the project page and enjoying it very much. So I'm very glad that these updates are available, and there's some cool there's some cool little things that were brought into the song page as well, which is awesome. Like being able to strum chords. I mean, it's a cute little thing, and it's pretty cool. The thing that you may have noticed about it is that it's a little fiddly to get going with, to start with, that whole strumming the chords thing in the note editor. It does work. It's not broken. It's just, you have to be a little bit precise with when you hold down the modifiers, Control and Alt, or Command and Option on a Mac, and when you drag the mouse, because if you don't do it in quite the right order, it doesn't work as you would expect it to. So from that perspective, the workflow is maybe less than ideal, but it does actually work. And the thing with it is, as soon as you've got it, as soon as you've worked it out and you've done it a couple of times, you can never not do it. Certainly that's been my experience. The first couple of times I tried it when we were still in beta with it, I was just like, this isn't really working. And then I got it, and it's just like, oh, I can just do it now. It's just, ching, ching, bang, ching, there, done. And I could always do it. I couldn't not do it. I couldn't make it not happen. So it is one of those things where you just have to practice with it. The other cool one is the being able to draw vertical chords and stack notes to make chords, which is great if you are into modal music, because you can just set the scale quantized to, I don't know, Mixolydian mode or Dorian mode or something like that, and then you can just draw in chords and you can just make chords out of the scale, which is great. And triads as well. Triads, you just have to set the thing into major triad or minor triad. And it's pretty cool. So you can do different inversions of different triads. So, and then once, of course, you've drawn those nice little vertical chords, you can then strum them as well. So even better. But yes, and I have just spied there. Normally I don't pick kind of comments out quite so soon into the show, but I'm going to pick this one out. Marcos, our dear friend over in Brazil, he says he is now officially using Studio One. Congratulations. Welcome home. You've finally come home. And I personally, on a personal note, Marcos, I am very, very glad for you, and I hope that you find that it is everything that I have advocated it to be, talked about it being, and everything that I've shown it to be in the videos and the live streams that I do. So I hope you really dig it, and I hope you find that it's just a really, really great tool for music making, because that's the thing. You know, I'm passionate about Studio One, I'm passionate about PreSonus products, and obviously I'm biased, right? Because I work for the company. But here's the thing. Fundamentally, my fundamental position is just make music. It doesn't matter what tools you use. You know, people have the most ridiculous arguments about what tools to use. What DAW is better than this? You know, which DAW is the best DAW? I mean, that's just such a broad and loaded question, because it depends upon what style of music you're working in for a start. And what your music making intentions are. Whether one DAW is going to be better for you versus another. And also then there's the whole Mac versus PC thing, which is another silly argument. So I'm going to get off my soapbox before I get started, because, you know, if you guys get me coming in off my long run, it's not a good idea. So let's go up the chat, and I can tell you that, let's see, who was it who was first in the door? I can't remember, because the chat has all gone into a funny order now. Which is a shame. I can't see it. I can't see who was first in the door. But anyway, I'm very glad to see that we have Kyle here, who did a really great job co-hosting with Jonny on Thursday. That was awesome. Great job. James Giannoni's here. Tony Stringer is here as well. Don Oliver. Dwayne is here as well. And we've got Chris over at Dick Creek Audio, who says, I'm here and still in Canada. My condolences to you, my friend. I'm kidding. I have Canadian family, so, you know. But still. And Bobby Booth is here as well. Double M Pro says hi from NY. I'm assuming that's New York. Awesome. John A.L. Hawk is here. Ronald Figura says howdy. And going down, Sean is here. Lieutenant Sean Carr. Glad to have you here, Sean. You're awesome. It was good to talk to you the other week. I hope we get to talk more, actually, because it was really interesting getting to know you a little bit more. Let's see. Just Bob is here, which is fantastic. He's one of my mods. Rich is here as well. He says salut, which is interesting because he is not French. Sean says, there's a 5.5. Yes, there really is. It's crazy. And of course, Andy Arthur from Thunder Creek Studios is here. He says, hi, my friend. Happy New Year. Thank you very much, Andy. Happy New Year to you too. And Happy New Year to everybody who is here. I know we're kind of a couple of weeks in now, but you know what? I do sometimes forget. You know, I kind of get past like New Year's Day and suddenly I forget that it's a new year and all of that. So I know it's nice to to talk about New Year. So I hope you guys all had a great Christmas. For those of you I've not seen in the chat or not seen on a show for a while, hope you guys all had a great Christmas and a good New Year. We had actually a really quiet New Year. It was, although for those of you that are friends with me on Facebook, you may well have seen the video that I put up on New Year's Eve, where we had a piper, a bagpiper, come and play us into the New Year, doing Auld Lang Syne and things like that. And he was really good. He did some jigs and reels. I went and got my marching snare drum out, and I played with him as well, which is great fun. At 1 o'clock in the morning, playing just, going up and down the street, and the whole neighborhood was out. Everybody from all of the houses on the whole street were out, and we had a sort of impromptu kind of street party. Everyone was masked and all of that. We take all of that stuff very, very seriously here in Scotland. So, but it was great. It was a great time, and I was just like, man, I love this street. This is like the best place in Scotland to live right now. So it was very, very cool. And that's kind of just an aside, really. Just Bob says, is there a key on the keyboard that offers a palm mute for the strumming of guitar? If you have a guitar instrument that supports sound variations, and it happens to have a palm mute sound variation, you can use that. And then you can still do the whole strumming of the chord thing with the palm mute sound variation being used. So that hopefully answers that one, but that's a good question. Billy Morgan is here. Alps Media, who I think everybody by now, we've not really talked about it very directly, but I think everybody by now knows that Louis at Alps Media is now a sponsor of Jonny Lipsham Studios, which is pretty awesome. In fact, it's a little bit more than pretty awesome. It's very awesome. I'm very glad to have him on board. I'm very glad to be working with him and working with Jonny Guy, but even more closely than I have ever done in the past 6 years. And as most of you will also know, Jonny and I work very closely together. I help him with Home Studio Trainer. He helps me. We do Songwriting Simplified together on Wednesdays over on his channel, which has been a great collaboration that we've done for, I think, about 4 or 5 years now, which is great. We love doing that show. Let's see. And the chat just jumped. I love it when it does that. Bobby Booth said, I was thinking of going to Pro Tools. That's hilarious. That's very, very funny. Oh, who else have I missed out? Have I missed anybody else out here? I don't think I have. I think I've caught everybody. Yeah, I think I have got everybody, which is cool. Yeah, I see that, Kyle. Thank you very much. I've dealt with it. That's awesome. Cool. Okay. Let's get this show on the road because we're 20 minutes into it. So we're talking about Studio One 5.5, and really this is just now that it's been in the wild for a few days. I basically wanted to get your questions on, if you've got any questions about some of the new features and how they work, and the ones you want me to go over in a little bit more depth, a little bit more detail. If you've watched the overview video, there's a good chance that anything that I show tonight will be replicated there. But if you would like to see something kind of that I covered in that video kind of extended a little bit more in depth, we can do that here tonight. I'd be very, very happy to do that. Were there any new features for Notion in Studio One 5.5? Well, Notion is a separate product. So when we do an update for Studio One, there isn't an update for Notion because it's a completely separate product. But if you're asking about the score view, no, there were no updates to the score view. there were only some updates for the note editor in particular. I don't think I can remember any of the other song page features off the top of my head, but we can always go and get the release notes. Release notes are always a good thing. If I can go and find them. Release notes, where art thou, release notes? Where are you, release notes? Here we go. I can open those up. And we can put those over on this screen so I can see what the heck I'm doing. Just make that a little bit smaller. Alright, so who wants to see the release notes? For those of you that haven't seen them, we can go through those. Let me go and do screen. And we can look at those. Alright, so I can make this a little bit bigger. Let's go to, maybe go to 125. There we go. So we've got plenty of screen. And should we expand this out just a little bit further? There we go. All right. So hopefully everybody can see this. Let's see. Dacapo is here. He says, I'm a little late, but I'm here. Is there any new features in the show page / performance page? I think there were a couple. We'll find that out. I didn't cover anything of the show page in my overview video. Deer Creek says video track, just simple tracks, so you can cut, slide, import more. Yeah, behave and wait. Yes, you'll have to behave because this is not. Hey, let's make some feature request show. Okay, this is not that show. I'm sure down the line I will do a show where I go, okay, let's just open the floor up and you guys can get your feature requests in. I think maybe that might not be a bad idea. Let's do that. But tonight is not that show, Deer Creek. So, and I do believe that over at answers.personas.com there is definitely a video track feature request that you can go and vote up. The more votes that gets, the more likely it is that it's going to be added to a version of Studio One or a build of Studio One at some point. All right, so let's go and take a look at the release notes. Show page, detached performance view for dual monitor use. So there you go. That is the new feature and improvement to the show page. For whom it was that asked about that. Who was that? It was Dacapo. He said, is there any new features in the show page? And there's your answer. Detached performance view for dual monitor use. So you can put the performance view on a completely separate monitor. So if you're doing a two monitor workflow, you can now do that with the show page. All right, so we've got in the project page, track automation, clip gain envelopes, the listen bus, track transform, which is really, really cool. So if you want to lighten the burden upon your system, you can now transform to rendered audio, which will print all the plugins that you use on that particular song into that song's stereo file, which is very, very cool. Multiple format export for digital release, which is an import from the song page into the project page, which I think is brilliant. Target loudness on digital release. This is really, really cool. I did go over these ones that I'm talking about here. But if you guys want me to go into any extra depth or detail, let me know in the chat and I will go and do that. Tab to rename tracks in the project page, which is, it's a small little addition, but it does mean that when you're naming all of your songs, you can just hit the tab key to go to the next one. So it makes doing that process a bit quicker. Option to replace audio on track, which is cool. So if you don't like the way you've done things, you can just remove it and you can just, put a fresh copy back in its place. Default track pause is now set to 0 for new projects, whereas it used to be set for 2 seconds. The reason why it was set for 2 seconds was because when Studio One was developed in the very first version, it was developed with CD burning in mind. And so we conformed to the Red Book standard for CD authoring. And so it had been like that for years. Now, here's the thing. Most people do not burn CDs these days. Most people upload their music to a streaming service of some kind. So it might be Spotify, it might be iTunes, it might be Amazon Music, Apple Music, it could be SoundCloud, it could be any of those platforms that you upload your music to, especially if you are, you're one of these people that when you release your music, you release it to something like CD Baby, where they go and kind of do all of those multiple platform uploads. And I just punched my keyboard. Poor keyboard. I'm sorry. So that set to 0 is actually really, really handy now. Because we don't need the Red Book anymore. Red Book's a little bit old and out of date. So let's see. Automation included in mix scenes. I didn't really cover this, mostly because I don't use the mix scenes. I'll admit, for what I do, I just don't need them, so I don't do them. Plugin Nap was a great feature that was introduced into Studio One 5.4, and we extended that. So now, instead of it just being global, it is now on a per plugin basis. So you can choose which ones are going to be enabled or disabled in the Plugin Nap. Feature remote control, Impact XT sample 1, sample editors with the Atom controllers. So if you've got an Atom controller, hang on, I'm going to need to widen this page a wee bit so we can see the rest of that sentence. So you can now control via your Atom SQ or the Atom, and I have an Atom SQ over here. You can now control the parameters of Impact and Sample 1 sample editors and that kind of thing. You can copy paste pads in Impact. Don't know why that was like never a thing, but we fixed it anyway. Drag and drop MIDI files to the chord trap. This is really, really cool. And I have a MIDI file of the chord changes to George Gershwin's I Got Rhythm, and I can just drag that into the chord trap, and I can make any song conform to I Got Rhythm, which is handy for making jazz memes that, of course, everybody loves. Chord selector now has 2 flat 5 and sharp 5, which is great if you're into extended harmony and altered chords like flat 5 chords and sharp 5 chords, which is basically diminished or augmented. Strum, we talked about. Stacks, drawing stacks of notes, we kind of talked about a bit as well. Manual time stretching by adjusting event starts. This is really, really cool. Because for ages you've been able to time stretch the end of the event, but never really, the other way, at the other end. Which means that if you are time stretching and you need it to line up to a previous event, you can now do that really, really easy. Option to snap events end to grid, which is great. Being able to do it the other way around from normal. Ampire, I didn't really talk about Ampire because this was kind of just a little improvement to Ampire. Basically just presets. You can switch between them a lot quicker now. List of simultaneously added tracks increased to 500. So if you ever want to create a template where you need 500 audio tracks, you can now do that in one fell swoop. You just press T on your computer keyboard, type in 500 for your audio tracks, and hit OK, and it will create 500 audio tracks. Boom, just like that. Let's see, what else do we have? The dithering algorithm I didn't really go into at all because algorithms are not really my thing, especially when it comes to YouTube algorithms. Improved handling of plugin processing errors. Yes, this is really, really cool. There are certain instances where a plugin will just shut off the audio engine. You'll be playing your song and suddenly audio would just cut. And what you used to see was over here, you would see in this little clip area here, it would say 666. It doesn't say that anymore. Now you get a sad face, but you get a little bit more than a sad face. Now I couldn't show this in the video because I don't have a plugin that causes this problem. But the problem essentially is where you get bad data being processed in the output stage of a plugin, it can create a situation where you have data that is not a number. And when that happens, it tends to just shut the audio engine off or give you a really loud blast of noise, white noise or something like that, that can impact your hearing or damage your speakers or your headphones or all three of those. So we addressed this by shutting off the audio engine and resetting it, but you get that sad face, but you also get a red indicator around the plugin that is detected to have had an not a number error, or has crashed inside itself, which can happen. That would have created the 666 error before. So if Studio One is able to detect what plugin has done it, then it will indicate it. And on that plugin itself, you'll also get the sad face as well. So you get the sad face in the over here in the main output, but you also get the sad face on the plugin GUI itself, as well as an indicator in which channel it's in. So you'll see it highlighted with a red box around it, and then you can open that up and you'll see it's got the sad face on it. And the audio engine is automatically reset, so you don't have to shut down Studio One and restart everything. So that's a pretty cool thing. Display plugin name and slot on automation tracks. Support for Steinberg CC121 and Tascam Model 12. So I think the Tascam Model 12 is a mixer, which is cool. And as I said, we got these new commands for the project page for transforming to rendered and real-time audio. And then in the score view, there's just one little thing, toggle note or rest. I have to admit, I didn't show that in the video either. Like I said, I just went over the big things that people have been asking for ages. These were kind of additions that we added, that Presonus added. And then there's a list of fixes here. Finally, this is important. This is a known issue, so if you're on Mac OS High Sierra, graphics hardware acceleration cannot be enabled in this version of Studio One. It does not work. So if you are having a graphics issue where ordinarily you would need to enable graphics hardware acceleration on High Sierra, you cannot do it currently. It is a thing, and we think it is an Apple thing. But yeah, this is a known issue, and so if you have made a support ticket about this, this is known about. We're aware of it. All right, so that takes care of the release notes. And I'm going to go back over to here because I want to go and see what we have here. Marco says the upgrade discount is available for future versions, even if you're having 4 versions back. I'm not quite sure I understand your question there, Marcos. But when you upgrade from one version to the next, so I'm not talking about the updates in between versions. So if you're going from version 5 to version 6 or version 4 to version 5, there is an upgrade fee that you have to pay, but it is not the same as purchasing Studio One afresh. It's much, much less than that. So it is definitely a discount. So even if the last version of Studio One you had was Studio One 2 and you decide to go to Studio One 5, great. We're glad that you've decided to upgrade. That's fantastic. And that upgrade pricing will apply to you. So yeah, that's available for you. Billy says, with target loudness, does Studio One do that automatically, or is it just for reference? You can adjust it. I'll need to go and open a project to do this. Hang on just a minute. I go back to my start page. Go back to my test project. I'll go back over to here. So here is my test project, where I've just thrown a couple of random things into here, just basically to test the whole thing. So the target loudness thing, if I go to digital release, see here, it adjusts the loudness. So when you have that box checked, it adjusts the loudness to accommodate for whatever it is you have selected. So let's say for some reason I want to upload to Netflix. Yay! If I get that chance, the max loudness there is -17. That's -17. That's a 2 there, Johnny. Come on. -27 LUFS. And that basically, you can change this figure here. But if I click away from that and hover over it, it says tolerance. And then the max true peak is set to -2 dB. But these are all kind of presets. And I think the ones that you will most likely use is going to be SoundCloud. Or you're going to use YouTube. And they're kind of around about the same kind of figures. And what it'll do is it will detect your loudness. If you remember, you've got this whole thing here where it gives you loudness information, pre-effects and post-effects. And the value that it looks at is it looks at your integrated loudness here, which is -14.7 LUFS for this particular song here. So this particular song here, if I was to do the digital release to YouTube or Spotify, it would not change anything. It would not turn anything up or down. It would be fine. So there'd be no massive amounts of change of volume. Was it Netflix that does the -27? So the max loudness for Netflix is -27. So my song here is coming in at -14, which would be way too loud. So that might get turned down automatically. But I'm never gonna upload to Netflix. It's just not gonna happen unless somebody hands me, a film scoring opportunity. In which case they will handle all of that. So if I was to go to Tidal is -14. And you can set a custom one as well. So you can set this to -23. So you can set these to any loudness value you want if you're so inclined. EBUR 128, which is the European Broadcasting Union standard, which I think came into force in 2014, if memory serves, is set to -23 LUFS with a max true peak value of -1, so you're going to avoid intersample peaking and that kind of stuff. Darren West says, I noticed the knobs on my Atom cannot be used to adjust volume faders on audio tracks, but can be on VST instrument tracks whilst I have the Z monitoring turned on whilst using a Quantum 2. Why? I have no idea. I don't use my Atom in that way. I don't really use the control knobs very much, actually, to tell the truth. So I don't actually know why that is happening, but I think that is something that you could probably make a support ticket about, and one of our hardware guys will take a look at that for you. And may be able to do some troubleshooting with that. So, Billy, I hope that answers your question. When you have this checked here, then your export here will get turned down according to the loudness specification that you've selected. So, hope that helps. So, for instance, if I set the true peak to -3, Studio One will set that to -3 automatically. Yes. Yes, it will. So if you adjust that true peak value to -3, then yes, that's what the true peak value will be on that export. Ronald says, I have High Sierra turned off hardware acceleration a long time ago to stop getting spinning beach ball of death. I think Apple wants me to upgrade. I think that might be true, actually. Let's see. Any other questions that I may or may not have missed? Just to help you guys out, I know Jonny talks about this a lot, but if you type @ and start typing Jonny, and then it will automatically suggest Jonny Lipsham Studios, just click on that, and that will input the rest of my name, and then put your question. That way I can pick out questions from amongst the body of the chat, because for me, it shows my name highlighted in red, and I can go, aha, that's a question. Whereas everything else is just kind of just general chit-chat, which I have no objections to. I'm happy for you guys to just chat amongst yourselves as well. I don't normally run a classroom like this, but, you know, normally I'd say, hey, quieten down at the back. Dwayne says, Redbook is still supported in the project page. Yes, it is. Would you expand the songs in the leftmost window to show the time box between the songs? I can certainly do that, yep. You're looking at that now. So as you can see at the moment, the pause is set to 2 for these. So there's always a pause of 2 seconds between each song. You can set that to 0, and in fact the default is 0. It's just that this test project predates this update, actually. So, you know, you can set that to 0 if you want to. So I could just 0 that out, and I could 0 that one out, and I can 0 this one out too. And there we go. So now all the songs just run straight on into the next one. The only one that didn't change is this guy here, because it's the first song in the record. But I think I may have under Redbook rules that you would normally have to have the 2 seconds at the start of song 1, but now you don't really. So as you can see, all of those are now zeroed, which is cool. That's a good question. Would you expand the songs in the leftmost window to show the time? Yes. So if you want to adjust these pause lengths, then yes, you would need to need to use this button here. So you've got your minimize and your maximize buttons there. So if you click on one of those, it will open up, and you'll be able to see the artist name, and you'll be able to see the pause set between each song. So I hope that helps. That's a good question. Just Bob says, are all of these updates for the pro version only, or is this for artists also, or a mix of both? If a mix, is there an info page that breaks that down? Now, if I go back to the release notes, anything that says project page or show page is going to be professional version exclusive, because these 2 pages are exclusive to the professional version of Studio One. So anything to do with it is going to be, and anything to do with these is going to be professional specific. But there are some others, like these ones here. Automation included in mix scenes. I would need to check whether mix scenes are available in the artist version. I don't believe they are. Plugin NAP is available across all versions. Copy paste pads in Impact will be available to you. Drag and drop MIDI files into the chord track. This will be available to artist users, because I believe artist users now have the chord track. But we can double check that. That's fairly easy to do. Let me go get a web browser open, and we'll go and double check that, just to be absolutely certain that you're getting the correct information. We can go and get the compare versions page open, just to be absolutely sure. Let's see. What was I looking for? Chord track. Chord track. No, chord track is professional only. I was mistaken. So yeah, anything to do with the chord track, artist users don't get access to. But you should be able to do the create strum and draw vertical stacks of notes, and you should be able to do the time stretching and the snap event end grid. You should also be able to do this with Ampire, providing you have purchased, if you're an artist user, if you've purchased the full version of Ampire, then you will get all of those extra presets. But the artist version for Studio One 5 only comes with 1 amp and 1 cabinet, unless you upgrade it, and then you get all of the presets. And then this last one you'll be able to do for sure. The dithering, you'll also get improved handling of plugin processing. You also get support for Opus Audio. You should get, I think, plugin listing diagnostics report. You'll get display plugin name and slot on automation tracks. You should also get. But you won't get these commands for the project page or the score editor because you don't have them. Ampire noise when disabling, enabling plugin app, we fixed that. So there's a whole bunch of fixes here as well. And here's what I was talking about, the 666 thing. 666 error on processing particular audio events. That is now fixed. I know that's been troubling a lot of people. But as I say, we fixed that. Which is cool. I'm glad we fixed that. Will MIDI ever be added to the show page? I've done a function request, a feature request. I want to control lights and effects, preset changes while playing backing tracks. Darren, I can't speak, unfortunately, to any future builds. Number one, because they're not in development yet. And number two, because I'm just not allowed to. I'm not allowed to speak to any new features that are going to be coming up in future builds. Even if I know about them, I cannot speak about them. I'm not allowed to. But if you have done a feature request, or you saw the feature request was already there and you upvoted it, you've done your bit. You have absolutely done your bit for the Personas community. And as I said, the feature requests that have the highest number of votes, those are the ones that get high priority by the Personas software team over in Hamburg. And they look at all of the feature requests and they assign those out to different builds, depending upon what the focus is for that particular build. So some builds have a different focus. Like one version will focus in almost entirely exclusively on deeper integration with hardware products, for example. Or another one will feature, I don't know, a feature set for targeting composers and film composers, that kind of stuff. And another build may well be for, beat makers, producers, that kind of thing. So that's kind of how it works a little bit. But yeah, I can't speak to what is going to come in the future. Because I'm not allowed to. I would lose my job if I did, and that would be very, very sad. Just Bob says, thanks for the breakdown. Not everyone can afford Pro, so this lets them know what has been improved. Yes, there are some song page improvements, but this particular build was focused upon addressing the project page, which, the project page has not really had a whole lot done to it since version 2.6. So, it's one of those things where, a lot of people have been talking about it for a lot of years and sort of like saying, when are these things going to come? When are these things going to come? When are these things? And, they were the subject of a lot of feature requests, a lot of upvotes on existing feature requests, a lot of chat on the Personas forum, a lot of chat on answers.personas.com. So, there was a lot of clout for these particular features to be added, and we did what we do, which is listen. We listen to our customers, and we go ahead and we implement things that customers are really requesting. Just Bob, I have been making typos all day, trust me. I'm not very good at typing with my phone. Because I go like that, and then I read back, and it's just like, it looks like it's a foreign language, and I have to go back and edit it and make sense of it. Low End says, I got Artist 5.5, and when I tried Strum, I get a pencil with dad head. Not really sure what that means. But anyway, I'm not sure what a dad head is, but anyway, like I said, with the strum thing, it takes a little bit of finesse. Okay, I will go into it. Just give me 1 second, because I need to go into the song page. And I need to go and grab an instrument. So let's go and grab an instrument. And we'll go and grab, what should we grab? Let's go and grab our nice full nylon strung guitar, because I like that thing. And let's just get some real estate in here. Okay, let's just expand this a little bit. So the way this works, and like I said, it's a little bit fiddly, but it does work. If you want to first of all create the chord, you can do that, and you can do that by holding down Alt. But you have to have the pencil tool on first. Hold down Alt. And that's, excuse me, that's not really going to be a very useful stack of chords. All right, so this is where I said you need to have the scale thing enabled. And so if I set this to major triad, and then if I go again, if I hold down Alt, we can have ourselves a nice chord. And I can extend that out for 3 beats. Now, here's how you make this work. First thing you do is you click and hold the bottom note, and then you hold down Control and Alt, and you start to drag. Okay. All right. Now you can do it the other way. So if I put that back straight, and if I go back up to the top note this time, if I click and hold that, and then I do Control and Alt and drag this way. Oops. Let's try that again. So the secret is to select the chord. If I go back to having them as a block chord, the secret is to click and hold on the top note, hold down Control and Alt and drag, and then let go of everything. And there you get your nice strum. So it does work. But like I said, it takes a little bit of finessing. All right, so you can strum up and you can strum down. So let's do a down strum this time. So let's deselect that chord and let's go to beat 2 here, and we'll do another Alt. I need to get the pencil tool. I keep forgetting to get the pencil tool. Oops. Try that again. There we go. And we'll stretch that out to the end of that bar. Okay, and then this time I'm going to select the bottom note. Click and hold, Control and Alt, and drag. And I did that wrong because I let go of the keys too soon. Click and hold and drag. Oops, I did it again. See what I mean? It's a little bit finicky. And there we go. All right, so that's kind of how that works. Schubert, I thank you very much for your feedback. It's very kind of you to offer that feedback. I appreciate it a lot. It's very cool of you to say so. And I welcome people's opinions on what I can do to make this show better. That's great. Thanks for that. But what I will say is that when I start a live stream, the first thing I like to do, and I've been live streaming since, this is show number 230, I think. So I've been doing a lot of this over maybe 4, maybe 5 years now. And so what I have always liked to do is, the first thing I do is I welcome my viewers, and I welcome the people that are in the chat. And I like to do that by name as much as I possibly can. Now, obviously, the more people that come to the show, the more I'm not going to be able to name every single person that's in the chat. But I like to name people because, I like the fact that I have particular people who have been here and have been to every show for a very long time. People like Bobby Booth, for example, have been to every show. He has not missed a single show. So, Shiba, I do appreciate what you're saying. But, I like to start by greeting my customers, my friends. You're not my customers, you're my friends. I like to greet people and make you feel welcome. That's the first thing I like to do. And, basically say, hey, hope your week has been great. My week has been good too. And then I like to start with a preamble as to what we're going to be talking about. So in this particular case, we're talking about Studio One 5.5 and the new features and that kind of thing. So I wanted to do a preamble, but also not everybody gets their questions in before the show starts. Questions come in whilst I'm talking. And so sometimes I'm filling in a little bit of space whilst I wait for questions to come in. So Shiba, I appreciate it. I appreciate what you're saying, and I can certainly do something to shorten that gap at the beginning for sure. If it helps you, then that's great, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you, and I'm here to help everybody who is watching, however many there are watching. I'm here to help you all, because that's what this show is about. So we have actually, one thing I can tell you is we have equaled the highest number of concurrent viewers, which is 34. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So far, that is our peak viewership so far, which is 34, which is great. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Thank you very much for contributing with your questions and your comments. Appreciate it a lot. There's going to be more stuff that I put out about new features in Studio One. So if your question has not been answered, don't worry. I will get to doing things in a bit more detail over the coming weeks. And sure, there is already a lot of content that Gregor and Joe, my colleagues over at Presonus, have already put out. They put out a wealth of content, and there's some other good folks out there that have put out some good content as well. Jonny Guy being one, who is my partner in crime, and it's great. Guys, you don't need to pile in, okay? It's cool. He's asking a genuine question, and this is genuine feedback, and I appreciate it. So, and I welcome it. So thank you, Schubert, for making that point. I appreciate it. Now, one thing that Mike from Peace Valley Audio does say here is, I don't get paid to do this. This show is me on my own, on my free time. I do this for you because I like doing it. I stay up until 1 a.m. my time to make sure that you guys, wherever you are in the world, get served and get your questions answered about Studio One and about PreSonus products. But I do it because I enjoy doing it, and I do it because, yeah, I think that's it. I enjoy doing it, to be honest, and I enjoy talking to you guys, and I enjoy getting to know you. So, you know, I'm not doing this as part of my job at PreSonus. This is me. I mean, that's why it says at the bottom there, jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk. Above there, it says jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk. It doesn't say PreSonus anywhere on this show. So this show is not branded by PreSonus, and I'm not doing this show on behalf of PreSonus. This is me doing it on behalf of me, on behalf of my website. That's it. So that part is definitely true. So I do this all for free, for your entertainment and for your education and for your edification and any other words that end in cation. So I think we'll end with that note. So I hope that everybody understands that's especially folks that are new to the show. I hope that you understand that that's what this show is about. This show is about me personally interacting with you guys who watch my videos. If you watch my videos and you've come to this show because of it, because you've seen the 5.5 overview that I've done, or you've seen the 5.4 overview that I've done, and you've come to this show because you're curious and you've recently subscribed, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it a lot. If you're here because you haven't subscribed yet, please do hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and select all notifications. And any other content that I put out, you'll get a notification about, and you'll not miss it. So if I do another video on Studio One 5.5, you're not going to miss it. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. There are multiple benefits for you, and there are multiple benefits for me. So I appreciate it because we've just gone past 4,700 subscribers, which is great. That's another milestone checked off. So, so I do all of this for free. This doesn't cost you guys anything, and I do this all on my own time. So I hope everybody understands what the bottom line is here. But let's see, lots of comments on this. Ronald says, I imagine I can contact you outside these live streams to get questions answered. Yes. See the website at the bottom there? jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk. If you put Jonny at in front of jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk and email me, you'll be able to get my email inbox. So if you've got questions and you didn't get them answered tonight, get them in there, and then I can do a Sunday Night Live and I can start with your question. So yeah, I'd love to do that. Absolutely. Darren says, I watched your video series on the symphonic orchestra for Presence XT. It seems to be great, but it's expensive. How does it stack up against other similar products? It's actually only $99. It's less than $100. And in its price point at the time that it was released, which is a few years back now, it was really well placed in the market at its price point. It's actually, for the price point that it's at, it's really good. Now, there are some other products like the BBC SO by Spitfire that you can get for, I think you can get it for free or for $50, which is really, really good. That's not to say that the Presence XT PreSonus Symphonic Orchestra is not good. It is. It's really good. And I actually use it quite a bit. So for the price point that it's at, it's very, very, very good, and it's very, very competitive. However, it depends upon A, your budget, and B, kind of what you're wanting to do. If you're wanting to do orchestral mock-ups, great, you can use it, because those sounds will eventually get replaced by real orchestral players, if that's your intention. Or if you're wanting to But if you're wanting to do something a little bit more serious, then, a more expensive product is probably what you're going to want, because some of the other more expensive libraries like Vienna Symphonic, Vienna Ensemble, Garitan, and products like that, orchestral libraries like that, or the Spitfire Albion, for example, they have a lot more sound variations, articulations, multiple miking for recording. So you get all of those kind of options as well, than what you get with the Presonus Symphonic Orchestra. It's a really good beginner orchestra library. I'll tell you that. It's really good. So I personally recommend it. So go check it out. Anyway, we are over time. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming tonight. I appreciate every single one of you, and I appreciate everyone's personal opinions about how I can make this show better, because it's important. To me, it's important to be able to do things better on this show, because, then it will appeal to a far wider audience. So Schubert, his opinion is very, very valid, and I respect it a lot. So thank you very much for it. And if anybody else has any other comments about the show and how I go about doing it and what you would like me to see improve, just send me an email, and I'm all ears. I'd love to hear what you think and what you would like to see. So if you've got a feature request for Jonny Lipsham Studios for Sunday Night Live, just drop me an email, and absolutely, I'd love to implement ways in which I can serve you better. All right, so on that note, good night, everybody. And I have completely forgotten to press that button there. Good night, folks.
Joneses, they are clearly blessed. They sow some big seed, he takes care of the rest. Thousands of creaseless suits, a sea of huge hats, nodding and waving, pat themselves on the back. Their 7-bedroom home, drive to their church they call the Superdome. Singing and dancing, arrow stroking begins, tithing to buy him their favorite thing. and muscular jaws, hide from exposure the slightest flaws. Broadcast on TV, his cliche boy, twisting the scripture